Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of what if Naruto was half Archangel and became the god of gods. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episodes. I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was turned into an android by Dr. Gero over on Anime King 2. So go ahead, check out that and enjoy guys. And also, the final part of What If Naruto was sent to the fear of the Walking Dead universe. So go ahead and enjoy that as well guys. And that's right, I have 4 channels which I post What If on every day. Link will be down in the description. Don't forget to turn on the bell notification and see exactly when I post. So without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now guys. So the last spot we left off, we started with Hiruzen. Hiruzen Sarutobi was going over a few files, as his mind ran on the young boy Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki was, well, he was unmotivated. That is all Hiruzen could say to justify what he think of Naruto. Naruto did not even want to become a ninja in the first place. He rather just sit down and relax, ignoring everything around him. Ever since he was a child, that is the way he has been. Granted, that had been good for one thing though. He did not really notice the hatred from the people, because of what was sealed inside of him. He did not notice it at all. However, Hiruzen was glad that he at least did make a friend that was always there for him. Skipping towards said friend, she was none other than Sakura Haruno, as she made her way to the top of the Hokage's monument. Arriving there, she saw him, as she remembered the first time they met. When Sakura was much younger, she was being bullied by a girl in her class known as Ami and her 2 brothers for her forehead. That was when Naruto jumped out of the tree annoyed, because he had woken from his sleep. He was up there sleeping. It was then that he turned his sights upon Ami and the others, as he decided to tell them that they had no right bullying someone looking like that. That pissed off the 2 older brothers as they rushed towards Naruto. But Naruto defeated them, despite being younger, rather easily. As Naruto decided to walk away, Sakura went after him, watching him, until he finally told her that he knew that she was there. She came out and said she wanted to thank him, but Naruto said that he did not do it for her. It was because they were talking too loud, and they woke him up. However, the old man did say he should make friends, as he supposed one would suffice. Ever since that day, they had been friends. The first time she brought Naruto to meet her parents, they were acting strange. Until they started to warm up to him, she didn't know why they were acting strange. Sakura had noticed that people were acting strange around the village when it comes to Naruto. Well, that was till she found out his secret. Now she was with him on the monument as they spoke. Naruto did not like to do things, as it was just the way he has been from day one, and she did not really mind that, as she liked doing things for him. Besides, whenever she always make things, he always eat it, and he liked it. And she knew that she wasn't the best cook, so that boosted her confidence. It was because of him that she was a better kunoichi. Not just him though, Hinata as well. Naruto was able to change a girl by just meeting with her once, and Sakura meet with her as well, as he told her that she would continue to be weak if she relied on her weak confidence like that. She was a part of the strongest clan within Konoha, and yet she behaved like that. Sakura was more gentle with the girl though, and since then she had slowly come out of her shell. Even her father had took notice, but that was some time ago and she had grown since then. However, the academy test was coming up soon. Sakura used to have a crush on Sasuke like the other girls, but she realized that Sasuke did not treat the girls well, because she compared his way of treating them to the way Naruto treated her, and realized that Sasuke did not treat them well. So that crush never fully developed into something that would affect her studies, and therefore, she was the top kunoichi in the class, academics, and she was focused, clashing with Hinata in terms of shuriken and taijutsu practice. She had become insanely good because she had put in more focus. She was incredibly smart, gaining knowledge to help boost her physical capabilities, and the right amount of food. It made her ready to face anything that she had to face. We then had a time skip as Naruto arrived in Hiruzen's office. Hiruzen was shocked as Naruto had climbed up the wall. It was then that Naruto showed him that he could do the wall walking exercise. Hiruzen was confused by that, as Naruto told him that he saw someone else doing it, and he just tried it. Hiruzen didn't understand. He knew that Naruto was not as weak as he seems. Even Iruka said it. Naruto simply lacked the drive and motivation to do certain things. But he was capable of doing a lot more than he led on. And Hiruzen wanted to push and motivate him, but it was hard to do so, incredibly hard. But the time was coming for him to graduate, and Hiruzen wanted to make sure that Naruto knew that things would be different out there, especially in terms of missions, as he talked to the boy. As for Naruto himself, it's not like he wanted to be lazy. Well, most things made him just tired, but his body felt way down. It felt like something heavy was always on him. That is the reason why he was always sleeping and relaxing, as he was unmotivated for most things as well. He felt bored. He got bored really quickly. Not to mention he could see ghosts. He was sure no one else could see this. That is why he never talked about it. He saw spirits and things moved around the village multiple times, but he chose to ignore them multiple times as well. The day finally came as Naruto took his test. Once he did that test, it was easy to pass. Despite his ridiculous chakra reserves, Naruto could control it, which was a spectacular feat as Iruka spoke to Hiruzen about that. Hiruzen was curious about Naruto. Time and time again, Naruto proved to be an anomaly that Hiruzen didn't quite understand, despite knowing the boy's background better than most. Naruto was invited by Sakura parents to celebrate with them, but Naruto said that he had to go, as he saw another spirit walking around, but this one was more focused than the others, so he followed it. Arriving out, Naruto saw Iruka facing off against Mizuki. As Mizuki had stolen the Forbidden Scroll, Iruka was trying to stop him. It was then that Mizuki told him that he was a nine-tailed fox, but Naruto already knew that. Despite how it might look, he was not stupid. He had put that together some time already. A fight ensued between them that ended in Mizuki's death by the hands of Naruto, which seemed to be a mistake, but Naruto was unbothered, not showing much emotions. It was like he did not even care. But Mizuki was a traitor, so it should not be really important. Sakura was worried about him the next day. Being her usual, threatening self over him, but he told her that everything was fine. As he arrived to the class, she was placed on Team 7 with Naruto and Sasuke. She was happy that she would be with Naruto in a team, as she was glad. If it was anyone else, she did not care about the third spot, but at least Naruto was there. It took their sensei hours to arrive. Once he finally did, Naruto laughed at him, calling them all a bunch of idiots. He had the audacity to show up late and say that as well. He was quite funny, as he took them on the roof as they had to explain himself. He then told them about the test. Sakura found it odd that he didn't want them to eat, as she said that they should probably eat. This guy was up to something. He was trying to trick them, and she would not let them fall for it. Later that night, though, Naruto found something. The spirit came back and dropped something on the ground. It was a black-handed, golden-tipped blade, as Naruto was confused by it. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the blade for yourself. So what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now guys. We begin this episode with Sasuke Uchiha, as he was in his apartment that was given to him by the third Hokage. He had not been at the Uchiha compound since. What had happened? However, at the moment he was looking at the counter table, as he wondered should he eat or not. Sakura had said that they should all eat a healthy breakfast, because Kakashi was trying to trick them. That girl, she was different than the other girls. She wasn't a mindless buffoon, always chasing him down, and always screaming when they saw him do the simplest things. She and one other. The one with the white eyes, the Hyuga, if you remember correctly. But could her words be trusted? This was their sensei. But the man had not proven to be a good person so far. In terms of being a teacher, he was late. Comparing his teaching skills to Aruka was like comparing an ocean to a small pond. Aruka, always trying to put in the effort. Sasuke had noticed that. But this man, he seemed unmotivated, just like his other teammates. He didn't understand that boy's deal. But right now he did not know what to do. He had woke up some time ago and did some early morning exercise. He had 30 minutes left and he wondered if he should. His thoughts were cut off as there was a knock at his door. Surprising him. He did not usually get visits, so this was something that caught him off guard. He made his way over towards it and opened his door. The moment he did, he was met with blue eyes. Sasuke had to back up. As he realized who it was his teammate. Sasuke was confused. Before he could say anything though, Naruto pushed past him. Sasuke was confused by that even more, as Naruto stepped into his house and started to walk inside. Where are you going? Sasuke asked. However, Naruto chose to ignore him. Sasuke turned as he saw Sakura standing there. He looked at her. What are you guys doing here? We decided to pay you a visit before we all heading toward the training grounds. I got news, she said to him. Sasuke turned his back to realize that Naruto was no longer there. Raising an eyebrow, and Sasuke walked off. As he made his way toward his bedroom, where he heard the door had been shut. Sasuke was even more confused by this. Wait, don't tell me, he thought. As Sakura had followed behind him, releasing a heavy sigh. She knew exactly where Naruto had gone. Sasuke opened his door to see. He paused at the sight, as Naruto was on his bed, sleeping. Sasuke was taken aback. He had never been here before or been in his house, and the first thing he does was enter. At least he had the courtesy to take off his shoes and jump into his bed and sleep. Sasuke did not even know what to say. Sakura released a heavy sigh. Naruto, she said. However, he simply take up one of Sasuke's pillows and place it over his head. She sighed once more. Sorry, that's my fault, she said. I woke him up early this morning. He's not a real big fan of waking up early, so he decided to take over my bed, Sasuke said. Yeah, he's like that, Sakura said. I'll make him apologize later for not asking. But for now, there are things that we need to discuss. Sasuke wanted to argue, but a part of him told him that it would be pointless. As he turned towards the girl. As she spoke, I know the true meaning behind the test. Sasuke raised the eyebrow to that. Time skip. 30 minutes later. Sasuke had just finished his breakfast. Everything that she said, well, it sounded truthful. And she also showed him proof. Sakura had been up last night. As she was curious about this test, she did not like to go into a test unprepared. So she did some research. She went back to the handbook. Konoha was a village that pushed forward teamwork instead of anything else. One member could not function by themselves. The academy was to make sure that they had the skills, so they could be tested by their Jonin senseis to see if they would be ready for the outside world. Nothing was written fully, but she was able to find pieces here and there. Whatever this test is, it's going to be about teamwork. Sasuke, remembering all the lectures and things that Aruka tried to pound into their heads at the academy, was inclined to believe her, and he was hungry, so he ate his breakfast. As he said that he would give it a try, he did not see any harm in believing her for this time, but if her idea was wrong, he would do what he has to become a ninja. After all, he has to. Looking towards the clock, they should be there by now. I'll go and wake Naruto up, she said. As she made her way off, it was pure silence until a loud slap could be heard all over the house. Around 2 minutes later, Naruto came out, as he had his sandals in his hand. That is when Sasuke noticed what he was wearing. He was wearing a large grey shirt that covered his arms. The sleeves were long. The material seemed better for comfort than ninja-wise. He was wearing a grey pants as well. Similar material. His clothing seemed to be meant for comfort, not to be a ninja. But Sasuke said nothing about that. "Alright, we're ready," said Sakura. As Sasuke just looked at the two of them, they were a really unusual pair, he thought to himself. Time skip. A good hour later. "You see, I told you," said Sakura. "This is what he does. He's late once again. Perhaps he's trying to provoke a reaction out of us, intentionally being late. In fact, I think he's here, watching us." Sasuke's eyes narrowed around as he tried to search the field, but he could not see their sensei anywhere. But he was not surprised. The man was a Jonin after all. Sasuke had something on his mind though. Even if this is a teamwork exercise as you say, what if this is a fight? Something that involves physical attributes, to see if we can go up against him, to defeat him. Do you think the three of us can take him on? Sasuke was cocky, yes he was, and he was a bit arrogant. He was a Uchiha after all, but even he knew that he could not defeat a Jonin by himself. He had not yet received any intense training, so he doubted he could. As he waited for her answer, "Well, I doubt that we can defeat him. I mean, we just came from the academy, and the Jonins are the strongest in the village, aside from the Hokage. However, with us working together, and especially with Naruto on our side, I'm sure that we can make him see us as a viable group to take on and train." Sasuke raised an eyebrow on that. He glanced over toward the tree where Naruto was still sleeping. He sure does like to sleep a lot. Why would he make a difference? Sasuke said. He was actually curious. Why did she say that? Sasuke was number 1 best in the class, and Naruto was dead last. So he doubted that he would make a difference. This girl, he had seen her done shuriken and taijutsu practice. She and that Hyuga girl were as close to number 1, with she coming out because of her scores in written tests. But her skills in physical were also good as well. So the two of them would be good, but what would he do? Sakura smirked as she looked over towards the sleeping Naruto. I know it doesn't seem like it, especially with him sleeping all the time. I still have no idea why he's so tired all the time and unmotivated. But trust me, Sasuke, she said. Sasuke saw a strange look in her eyes. Today, he's gonna prove you wrong. As he was curious by her words, now he wanted to see what he can do. Why did this girl have so much faith in him that he being a part of their battle would change things? Yes, he was truly curious. Time skip. The both of them were starting to get pissed off. Kakashi was still not here. Sakura had allowed Naruto to sleep, so when the time came, he could not protest about fighting. After all, he would be well rested. Finally, poof. Yo, said Kakashi. Yo, that's all you have to say? Sakura asks. Oh, I'm late. Sorry about that. A black cat came in front of my path, so I had to take the long way around. Really? She said to him. Yep, he said to her. She simply sighed. That's the lamest excuse I ever heard before. Sasuke simply glared at the man. Well, he said, clapping his hand, before glancing over. Would one of you wake up Naruto? Sakura made her way over. Naruto, get up, she said. Our sensei is finally here. However, he did not move, which made her eye twitch. So she finger flicked him right in the forehead. As he slowly groaned, she shook him until his eyes started to open. What? He said. As his eyes were squinted, I said, wake up, our sensei is here. As Naruto yawned, why should that concern me, he asked. Because we have a test to do. Don't tell me you forgot everything I told you this morning. The only thing I remember is you pounding on my door early in the morning, waking me up for no goddamn reason, said Naruto. If I did not wake you up that early and tell you what we were going to be doing today, you would have slept till noon. You know that you're a person that sleeps a lot, and yet you always go to your bed late. It's your fault, she said to him. My fault, said Naruto. Yes, your fault, she said. Now get up, as she grabbed him, pulling him to his feet. He staggered a bit before he leaned on the tree. Fine, I'm up, he said. This whole thing is just annoying anyways. Hey, what do you want, said Naruto. As Kakashi realized that Naruto was talking to him. Well, it's time for you to wake up and do your test, he said. Naruto sighed as Kakashi watched him. Kakashi was not sure where he got this tiredness from or laziness. Minato was never like this, and Kushina was always bursting with energy. It was strange, he thought to himself, as Naruto stuffed his hands in his pockets and stood beside the Uchiha Sakura to his other side as he stood in the middle. Alright, now that everyone is well rested and awake, said Kakashi. He pulled out 2 bells and attached them to his waist before pulling out the alarm clock. Your job is to get these bells from me before noon, he said, as he placed the alarm clock on one of the stumps. If you fail to get a bell by noon, you will watch as me and the others eat our lunch in front of you, said Kakashi as he looked at the group. By the way, the one that does not get a bell will be sent back to the academy. Sakura noticed that there were 2 bells, but she said nothing at all. Sasuke noticed that as well, but he said nothing, and Naruto did not seem to really care. Oh, and remember, said Kakashi, come at me with the intent to kill. Kakashi was surprised that neither of them said anything. However, he had saw all of them this morning, Sakura dragging Naruto to Sasuke's house. The girl was incredibly smart. It seems like she was able to figure out the reason behind the test, even before she saw it. If that was the case, that was incredible, seeing that neither of them asked about the bells. And if they're already working together, this test will not last for long. But let's see how far it can go, Kakashi thought to himself, as he was already thinking of passing them. Begin! Upon saying that, Sasuke and Sakura leaped away, moving fast, but Naruto was still standing there. Naruto. I said begin, said Kakashi. I know you did, said Naruto. I was just weighing my odds of going back home. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at that. Do you mean quitting the test? Exactly. But I will never hear the end of it, said Naruto. With that annoying girl on my back. He sighed and walked away to the trees. As Naruto arrived, what took you so long, said Sakura. I'm here alright, said Naruto. So what do you want? It is exactly as I said. He wants us to fight against one another. This is a test about teamwork. That is why there are 2 bells. He wants to see if we're going to fight against each other or if we're going to work as a team despite the odds. Sasuke had to admit, she had a solid point. Now that she was saying it, he was seeing it rather clearly. So we should work as a team, he said, to try and get them away from him. But what if we can't? I doubt us getting the bells is going to be an issue here. Perhaps all you want to see is us fighting together. That is why I have a real good plan, she said. And you're going to take the lead, she said, smiling towards Naruto. Oh great, said Naruto. 15 minutes later, Kakashi was still waiting on them to show up. It seems like they were plotting something, but they were sure taking their time, he thought to himself. As he was reading his book, that is when he saw Naruto finally emerging, by himself. As Kakashi watches the boy came over towards him and stopped, a few feet ahead of him. So you decide to come alone, huh? Said Kakashi. Naruto stretched. Yep, pretty much, he said. Kakashi simply watched him as Naruto stretched, stretching out his arms and legs, before he cracked his neck, as he started to bounce up and down, like he was getting his body into a ready position. Kakashi was curious. Are you preparing yourself to take the bells away from me? Exactly, said Naruto. Do you really think that that is possible? By yourself? As Naruto shrugged. Well, I won't deny you the chance. Give it a try, said Kakashi. As Naruto lowered himself into a running stance. A distance away in a tree, Sasuke watched. He can finally see what he's capable of. Sasuke was over to an opposite tree, as she was tying a few ninja wires together. This plan would work, she thought to herself. It has to. As for Naruto, he was finally ready. Sakura was right. Naruto was strong, he was fast. He just did not like to put in the effort. But when he does, the ground started to creak a bit. Dust and debris flying up, as Naruto's feet was pressing into it. Kakashi noticed the amount of force that was coming down. He raised the eyebrow in surprise. What the hell? Naruto shot forward, surprising Kakashi. He did not expect this. He was expecting him to move, but not at this speed. As Naruto reached him, Kakashi pulled back. The bells were inches away from Naruto's finger. He had aimed to grab them, but he was not done. He twisted on his feet and lashed out, almost kicking the copy ninja. Kakashi flipped away as he landed softly, and Naruto engaged. What followed was Naruto trading blows with the man. Kakashi was using one hand, but he realized that Naruto's blows were getting faster and stronger. Kakashi was caught off guard by that. It seems like his body was adapting to what he was doing. That is when he noticed something strange. This fighting style. No, it can't be, he thought. Kakashi flipped away as he closed his book, as he put it into his pouch. That style that you're using, where did you learn it? What are you talking about? Said Naruto. That style that you just used to fight me, where did you learn it? Oh, this. Oh yeah, I remember. From a guy in a green jumpsuit. I saw him run around Konoha. He stopped where I was sleeping. He was so annoying, so I woke up and I saw him fighting. Did you ask him for pointers? Said Kakashi. No, said Naruto. I just remember what he does. Kakashi was taken aback. Are you saying that you mimic his style by just seeing it? Naruto nodded. Enough wasting time, he said, moving forward. Kakashi felt like he was fighting Guy in his younger days. The blows were not as strong, but this was a Goken. It was definitely that style. There was no doubt about it. That is when Kakashi noticed something as Naruto jumped back. A fireball was sent right towards him, snapping his gaze up. Sasuke, he thought. Kakashi leaped high in the air, but that was his mistake as he saw shurikens and kunais. They slammed right into him, but his body turned into a log. He reappeared distance away, not near Sasuke or Naruto, but that was what they had planned. Sakura pulled on the ninja wire. Upon doing that, all the traps were set off in the area, and Kakashi was right in the heart of it. The whole place went up in smoke, as traps from kunais raining down to gigantic logs swinging and smashing into trees were all over. Once it was done, she saw the destroyed pieces and the kunais and shurikens all over, but their sensei was nowhere to be seen. Quite the trap maker, aren't you? Sakura jumped away as she landed on her feet, seeing her sensei in the tree looking down towards her. As he gave her an eye smile. Sakura. She heard. She turned, where she saw Naruto in the center of the traps. He was hit by so much kunais and shurikens. He was bleeding. Sakura, help me, said Naruto. However, she slammed her hand together as she pulsed her chakra. Release! Naruto's body faded away. That won't fool me, sensei. Well then, I guess I'll just have to take you on. Head on, he said as he jumped forward. Now! Sakura yelled. She swapped places with Naruto. Substitution. As Naruto threw a fist right towards the copy ninja's face, Kakashi ducked underneath it though. That is when he saw something glinting under Naruto's shirt. As Naruto reached towards it, he almost forgot as he pulled out the blade that he got last night. Kakashi seeing it pulled out a kunai of his own, and the both of them clash. But what happened shocked the copy ninja. Naruto's strange weapon cut right through his kunai. But that was not all. The weapon started to glow. Strange yellow lightning from Naruto's hand. It was like it ran right into the blade. Kakashi felt something off. Believing that this was Naruto's doing, he tried to get out of there by substituting, but the moment Naruto's blade touched the ground, what followed was something none of them expected. It released a violent shockwave that erupted in the training field. Sakura and Sasuke, who had been standing together, saw the wave of energy, a bright yellow wave rushing towards them. They had no time to move. It was destroying everything. Sakura's eyes went wide as she closed her eyes. Sasuke, who was a foot behind her, was scared out of his mind. Was this it? Was this how he died? He thought to himself. Sasuke saw a strange blue light. He wasn't sure where the light came from, but he had closed his eyes afterwards. When he opened his eyes, they were fine. They were completely fine. Sakura had her eyes shut in fear. Sasuke was confused. He noticed that the technique had traveled beyond them, destroying several trees. But they were fine. Sakura was in front of him, he was a foot behind her, and yet the technique had spear around them, not harming them in the slightest. What happened? Sakura said, opening her eyes. She noticed that she was fine, as she didn't know what just happened. Sasuke himself was just as confused. As he stepped on the charred ground, the grass had been burned away. Everything was ruined in the vicinity. Even birds that fell out of the trees and the sky, dead. They were charred to pieces. Naruto! He heard Sakura scream as she rushed towards the center where the blast resonated from. Sasuke went after her as he noticed several Anvus arriving in the area. 2 Anvus dropped in front of Sakura. They stopped her. What are you doing? I have to see if Naruto's alright. Let me pass. Stay where you are, the Falcon Mask Anvu said, as he did not want her to go any further. Blasts like what just happened here were not regulated within village parameters. That is why they were here. This was nothing normal that followed a moment ago. That is when they heard something as they turned to see Kakashi stepping out of the foliage. Senpai, one of the Anvu spoke up. She had purple hair. Kakashi was walking forward until he collapsed face first. She rushed over towards him and flipped him over. The right side of his jacket had been burned off. His arm had several cuts on it. There were several things that had pierced his vest. Pieces of branch that wouldn't have gotten through, but the force of the blast had gotten them through. That had pierced his skin. He was bleeding. She quickly made a signal as one of the Anvu dropped and started to go through hand signs, scanning all the wounds to try and stop the blood flow so they could get him to the hospital without him bleeding out. The Falcon Mask Anvu turned towards Sakura. What happened here? I don't know, she said. It was then that the Hokage arrived on the scene. Hokage-sama, the Anvu said, bowing their head with respect. He nodded towards them. What is going on? As he looked towards the 2 students of Kakashi, and then Kakashi himself, who was unconscious. What happened? He said. They say they don't know, said Falcon. Hiruzen then noticed something. Where's Naruto? He asked. Sakura's eyes became fearful. He's not in there, she said, as she could not see in the crater that was formed. Hiruzen stepped forward as he felt his heart beating fast. This blast, the radius, it was centered here. The crater was deep. If Naruto was at the center of this, he would not survive. Praying in his heart, hoping that the child was alive, Hiruzen stepped forward and he was met with golden eyes before they reverted back to blue. "That was diabolical," said Naruto. Shock written all over his face. Hiruzen jumped down into the crater. "Naruto, you're right." Sakura rushed past the Anvu, seeing that they weren't paying attention to her. "Naruto," she said. Relief resonating through her tone as she breathed a sigh of relief. Not only was he alright, his clothing was still intact. There wasn't even a scratch on him. What happened? As Naruto pointed towards the blade, as Sakura jumped down, landing there as well. What is that?" "A weapon," said Naruto. "The Anvu that was not tending to Kakashi jumped down as well." "Where did this come from, Naruto?" Hiruzen said. "Well, it's a long story. You will explain at my office." He nodded to his Anvu to his left as Falcon reached down to pick up the strange weapon and get it to somewhere safe. Whatever it was, Hiruzen had never seen a weapon like it before. As his hands wrapped around the handle, Falcon was blasted out of the crater as he crashed hard. Hiruzen jumped in front of the two children, intending on blocking whatever was coming with his body. "Move," said Naruto. Hiruzen wanted to stop Naruto, but somehow that Hiruzen could not fathom Naruto was in front of him. But that didn't. Naruto grabbed the hilt of the blade and it stopped pulsating. Hiruzen looked at him as he held the hand in front of Sakura. "Naruto, what are you doing?" "It's alright," said Naruto. "It's not going to cause any more damage." "How do you know that?" "I'm not sure," Naruto said, as they all just looked at him. Time skip. Naruto sat at a table in the interrogation room. He was not being interrogated. However, they had to be cautious. They could not bring him to the tower or the hospital, afraid that what happened in the forest would happen in those places. Naruto had told them that if they tried to take the blade away from him, it might explode once again. There was one thing about Naruto that Hiruzen always respected. Naruto did not lie. He might try not to tell the truth by simply not telling you anything, but he did not lie. So Hiruzen believed him. That is why they brought him here. Sakura was here as well. If there was anyone that could calm Naruto down, which he was calm, but this girl had a positive effect on him. So Hiruzen was sure that whatever was going on with her here, everything will be fine. If this blade was somehow connected to Naruto, because Hiruzen knew that he was not mistaken as he saw Naruto's eyes turn golden. There was no joke about that. Could this be linked to the fox? Ibiki finally arrived. "The place is secure, Hokage-sama," he said, as Sakura sat there nervously. She was not expecting today to go this way. Hiruzen turned towards her and gave her a nod as she got up, making her way towards the room. However, Hiruzen stopped at the doorway as the blade was now on the table. Naruto looked up. "It's alright, old man," he said. "It's not gonna hurt anyone else." "How do you know that?" Hiruzen asked. "It told me." "What do you mean it told you?" "Well, it can't talk if that is what you're thinking. But I'm not sure. It's like I can understand it. Yes, I know it sounds strange, but considering how I got it, it is far from strange." Hiruzen stepped inside, cautiously. "Are you telling me that the blade is now okay?" "Give it a try," said Naruto. "You mean?" Naruto nodded. Hiruzen trusts Naruto. Yes, he did. And the blade did look harmless. And besides, if it was a weapon of mass destruction, it would have to be destroyed, because if it could not be placed somewhere safe, if Naruto could not release it. Hiruzen reached over cautiously and picked up said blade, and nothing happened. The Anvu that it had shocked, he was fine. The shock had just knocked him out. Holding the blade in his hand, it was now completely fine. As he looked at it, he's never seen anything like it. The golden part was twisted, but it still came into a pointing edge. It seems extremely sharp. Hiruzen placed it back down. Naruto, where did you even get that Sakura axe? Stepping inside. Did you see how much problem you caused today with that thing? You put your sensei in the hospital. It wasn't my fault, said Naruto as he leaned back in his chair. I know, she said. But where did you get that thing? What even is it? A ghost gave it to me. Both of them looked towards him, as the room was deadly quiet. Would you mind repeating that? I said, a ghost gave it to me. Naruto, this is not the time for jokes, Hiruzen said. Naruto's face was blank, showing no humor. Wait, you're serious? Of course I am, said Naruto. It was yesterday. I was on top of the roof when a ghost arrived and gave it to me. A ghost? Said Sakura. There are certain things that I have not told anyone, said Naruto. Not even you, he said, looking towards Sakura. Considering that she was one of the first people he told about the Kyuubi, she was surprised to hear that. I can see ghosts. Hiruzen sat in the chair. Start over. From the beginning. So Naruto told him. It first happened when he was around 10 years old, as he started to see things moving all over. But the more he grew, the clearer they got, and he started to see shadows walking around. And on top of the roof, a ghost dropped that and left it for him. Hiruzen was having a hard time believing that, but the thing was, Naruto did not lie. So it was strange and difficult to believe, but it was. Sakura broke the silence. And why didn't you tell me that you could see ghosts? Hiruzen looked at her. She had no problem believing Naruto. It's weird and crazy. Do you want them to put me into a mental hospital? Said Naruto. Of course not, but if you explain what happened, I'm sure they would understand. Do you think people listen to crazy people? Naruto asks. Well, I guess you're right, but still, you're not crazy, she said. I know that. But do they? Naruto asks, looking towards Hiruzen. Well, this is really hard to believe, but I've seen many weapons throughout my lifetime, and I've never seen a weapon like this throughout the entire elemental nation. The craftsmanship, the markings on this, I'm not sure what they are, but it is special. While it is hard to believe that a ghost gave this to you, you've never lied to me before. You've held back the truth by not talking, but you don't lie. So I believe you, Hiruzen said. As strange as this is, however, the blast, you were in the radius, right in the center. Kakashi was able to substitute himself, but he was not fast enough. Would you mind explaining how you were completely unharmed? I'm not sure, said Naruto, as he looked towards Sakura. You were safe as well. Yeah, I'm confused just as you, she said. Somehow the blast did not affect me or Sasuke in the slightest. Sasuke said that he saw a blue light, and we were fine. Hiruzen was thinking about that. This was all so complicated, he didn't understand one thing that was going on here. Naruto picked up the blade. Sorry, old man, but you can't have it, he said. It doesn't want to be separated from me. But I promise, I won't let it cause that much more damage within the village. And how can you be certain? Well, I'm not, but as I said, I can't physically talk to it. It can't speak English, but I can understand it. Somehow, said Naruto. Time skip. Kakashi slowly opened his eye. The other one was covered by the headband. However, there was a sheet that came up and covered his face, because he was not wearing his mask. As he was lying down, he could still feel a lingering pain. However, he heard snoring. Glancing over as he saw Naruto curl up in a chair, asleep. Naruto, he said, his voice a bit muffled by the sheet. Naruto, he called out once again. Naruto propped open the eye as he yawned. You're finally awake, he said. What are you... Where am I? Said Kakashi. You're in the hospital. Don't you remember? Oh, yes, said Kakashi. What happened? That blast. Naruto yawned as he stretched. I just came here to make a proposition with you. And now I have to tell you the whole story. As he sighed once more. Alright, fine, listen up. Naruto told Kakashi everything. Okay, said Kakashi. You heard what I said, right? Yep. You can see ghosts. And a ghost gave you a weapon that was able to release a blast that almost blew me to pieces. Yep, pretty much, said Naruto. Well, you're taking it a lot better than you, old man. Seeing that you seem to believe me rather easily. Well, it does sound crazy, but what I saw out there in that weapon that I've never seen before, I figured that there was something strange about it. And you as well. I know, right? Being a Jinjulki and also being able to see ghosts. I'm one big bag of surprise. As Kakashi chuckled at that. Wait. You said you have a proposition. That's why you're here. Exactly, said Naruto. Seeing that we're gonna be Team 7 from now on, I want you to stay here. Tell the doctors that you're not feeling so good. Because as long as you're out of commission, Team 7 will be inactive. Alright, said Naruto. Kakashi blinked. And why would I agree to that? Because it's gonna be our vacation. A long time of relaxing. I believe if we time this right, we can get at least 5 months out of it. As Kakashi looked towards Naruto, before he started to chuckle. Wait, he said, calming himself, as he found it rather amusing. To imagine that the first thing you woke up to was a kid, telling him that he could see ghosts, and now he wanted him to stay in the hospital and pretend to be sick. Who said that we're now Team 7, he asked. We figured out your stupid test, said Naruto. And I waste my time come here, so I could get you before the others. As Naruto looked towards the door, seems I've run out of time. Remember my proposition, he said. As Naruto proceeded to climb through the window, Kakashi almost jumped out of the bed, knowing that they were not on the first floor. That is when he saw Naruto walking up the wall, climbing upwards. What the hell? The door opened up to show Hiruzen Sarutobi as he entered the room. Time skip. 2 weeks later, Kakashi was in the hospital for 2 weeks, but now he was fully healed, and he could finally get Team 7 on their way. As he announced to the Hokage that they passed, he would have redone the test, but there was no point. They show excellent teamwork, thinking and working together as a team. And not to mention, Naruto now hates him. Yes, Naruto hates him, because he did not follow through with their plan of staying in the hospital for months. But Kakashi believed that it will pass. Sakura was happy to hear that they passed the test. Sasuke was glad, but he did not show it as much. And Naruto simply glared at him. After that, 2 more weeks passed of them doing the worstest thing known to Jennings, D-rank missions. At the moment, Cherry Blossom in. I have eyes on the target. It's moving. Emo King. Do you see the target? Another voice spoke up. I'm not calling myself that. But I do see the dumb thing. Sakura giggled on the other line. She was the one to pick the names. Sleeping King. Do you see the target? Yes, I see it. It's moving past. Now it's out of my sight. I don't see it anymore. Sleeping King, are you sure? The voice of Kakashi asks. Yes, it's gone. Really? Said Kakashi, looking down towards Naruto, who was lying down, far away from where they were supposed to be hunting for the target. Naruto looked up. How did you find me? It wasn't hard, Kakashi said, as he picked the blonde up by his shoulder. You're a part of this mission as everyone else. Target is in sight. Engaging. The voice of Sakura spoke up, as they could hear screaming on the other line, along with a violent beast. Moments later, Team 7 arrived towards the Hokage's office. Team 7 had the most eventful first meeting out of everyone else, their tests, was quite a spectacular day. They've been doing D-rank missions for the past 2 weeks. At the moment, Madame Shishimai, the wife of the daimyo, was currently squeezing the living hell out of her cat. Sakura was happily smirking, glad to see that thing suffer after it sliced up her arms with its damn claws. That beast deserved what it was receiving. The woman quickly made her way off. The moment she got through the door though, to her baby, wait! As the screeching of the cat could be heard, and the woman ran after it. Sakura eye twitch. Well, Team 7, Hiruzen said, enough. Sasuke said, as they looked towards him. It's been 2 weeks, and we've done nothing but chores. Give us a real mission, Sasuke said. This is just a waste of my time. Sasuke, Aruka shouted out. He and another Chunin was there. That is not how you speak to the Hokage. And Genins, who have just graduated, does not have the right to take high rank missions. D-rank missions are essential. Hiruzen raised a hand, cutting Aruka off. As he looked at the group in front of him, Sasuke was scowling. Sakura actually seemed like she was ready for a high rank mission. Kakashi simply sighed, knowing that he will have to be the one to pay for this later with his student outbursts. And as for Naruto, he was not sure if Naruto even knew what was going on, seeing that he was not paying attention. So you believe that you're ready for a high rank mission, Hiruzen said. Of course, Sasuke said. Well, Kakashi, they're your team. How do you think they will do on something higher? Sasuke turned his ire towards Kakashi. A heated look in his eye, warning the man to say otherwise, but Kakashi ignored him though. They've done great progress so far. Perhaps something higher would give them a bit more experience, feel-wise. But it's too soon, Aruka said. We can't just let them, they're my team. I know what they're not ready for or what they're ready for, Kakashi said, interrupting Aruka. He's right, Aruka-san, Hiruzen said. If he believes that they're ready for something higher. In fact, I know exactly what I shall give them, he said. Sasuke smirked at that. Finally, he said, wait, hold on. They turned their sides towards Naruto. What's going on? Everyone's sweat dropped at that. Weren't you paying attention, Hiruzen said. Yeah, I was. Then what did I just say? Higher rank mission, said Naruto. What about it? As Naruto looked over towards Sakura, their eyes met as she looked towards him, then towards Sasuke, then towards herself, and then towards the window. As Naruto got it. For us to go on higher rank missions, he said. Then what is your objection about it? What exactly do you mean by higher rank mission, said Naruto. Well, this will be an escort mission. For you to escort a client back to his home. That's it, Sasuke said. Well, you're also gonna have to protect the client from any bandits that might come after him on your way there. Finally, Sasuke thought, he'll be able to test himself. Time skip. Team 7 was making their way. They had met the client, Tazuna, who had insulted them the moment he met them, believing that they were a bunch of kids. Sasuke did not dignify that with a response. Sakura held in her anger, and Naruto pretty much just did not care. So with that, they had hit the road. Sakura was curious though, about Land of Wave and their own ninja background. So Kakashi started to explain to her about majority of the villages not possessing ninja background. Several of the reasons why they hire out. As they made their way, Naruto did not like this. The long walk. It was boring and tiresome. His hands were in his pockets. He was no longer wearing the oversized gray shirt. Now he was wearing a cream shirt. The color was still dull, but at least the sleeves were perfectly fitted, and he was wearing black pants and sandals. Sakura had seen fit that he did not put on something that hideous again, like the gray shirt, and this looked better on him, if she must say so herself. There was also a belt strapped around his waist, as he placed the blade on his side. Over the 2 weeks, Kakashi had him test it. away from the populace so he would not frighten them again. The thing was, Naruto was not sure how exactly release that discharge. The blade would not answer that, as he said that it was vibing with him, not talking, so they did not know exactly how he did it. So right now it was just an extremely sharp blade that was able to cut through any kunais and shurikens like it was nothing. Maybe it was based on Naruto's will, Kakashi thought, but they weren't quite sure. A puddle was up ahead, but no one paid any mind. Sakura saw it. As she walked by, she then wiped her forehead as she was sweating a bit. Considering the heat, that puddle should have dried up by now. They had been walking for a few hours. But it was too late as she came to the assumption. Two ninjas exploded out of it. Kakashi, who was at the back, got wrapped up as he spun around. Kakashi was torn apart, left in pieces. Naruto was the closest to Kakashi. The ninjas threw the chain. As it wrapped around the blonde while it tried to, Naruto reached out and grabbed onto the chain, stopping it. The one to his left saw that. The gauntlet on his hand, he drove it towards Naruto's head, but Naruto yanked the chain, causing the guy to pull forward too much. A kunai drove right through his skull. As the body fell, the other one received a harsh kick from Sasuke as he staggered back. Sasuke jumped forward, but the guy was about to rip him out of the air until Kakashi arrived and knocked him down. Sakura was trembling as she looked at the body. She was the one that threw the kunai. She was throwing it to hit the guy's shoulder to stop him from stabbing Naruto. But Naruto yanked the chain and it went right into his forehead, killing him. She's never killed anyone before. Her hands were trembling as she saw the light leave his eyes. His eyes had looked at her when she threw it because she was looking at him, and now blood was pouring out. Sakura was trembling all over. She knew that being a ninja meant she had to kill, but seeing the blood, doing this, she turned her head and threw up. As she puked out her breakfast, she was shocked at taking a life. She's never done that before. And she saw the man's eyes, the light leaving them. She felt a hand rest on her shoulder as she looked up to see Naruto. Tears in her eyes. I killed him, she said. You did it to save me. He was a monster. He tried to kill me, said Naruto. You did nothing wrong. She trembled as she moved forward and hugged him, crying as Naruto held on to her. Kakashi knew that this would have to happen. Taking her first kill is something, well, hard. The first experience of killing someone, knowing that you would end someone's life, erased it. Kakashi was not so sure for Naruto though. From what he heard, Mizuki was dead because of Naruto, but the blonde seemed completely unaffected by that, as Naruto held Sakura. Tazuna felt sad for the girl. This was her first time killing someone, it seems, as he saw how heavy that weighed on her, and it made him feel extremely guilty. Even Sasuke felt a bit down as he looked at her crying, but Naruto held on to her, supporting her. Kakashi was glad for that. He was glad that he could get this out of the way now, and Naruto could help her out of it. If he was able to stay so calm after killing Mizuki, he would be the best coach for her now. Kakashi tied up the other one as he removed the body to get it away so she would not see it. When he came back though, he was looking towards Tazuna. The reason I had them think that I was dead is because I wanted to see who they were after. And they were after you. These are missing ninjas. This is not what we signed up for. Tell me what is going on right now, or we head back. Naruto's ears perked up at that. Something was going on. He raised an eyebrow at that as he held on to Sakura. who slowly stopped crying. What are you talking about? Tezuna said. With a single look, Kakashi had the man breaking and telling him everything. As he was on his knees, apologizing. He told him about Gato and everything, and that Gato was sending people after him. Kakashi released a breath. This was a sticky situation that they were in at the moment. This was supposed to be given to a higher rank team, but the wave did not have any money to pay for a higher rank mission. However, Naruto suddenly spoke up. Hey, old man, he said, tell me something. So you're saying that you deliberately walk us into a trap that we had no idea about, and you could have gotten someone here killed because you chose to lie and risk our life, said Naruto. Because you were afraid of death. Tazuna lowered his head in shame. Naruto's tone was much more darker than before. Naruto, Kakashi said, snapping him out of whatever trance he just went into. Kakashi looked down toward his hand as Naruto realized he had the blade in his hand. He did not even know when he reached for it. Sakura placed a hand on his shoulder. It's alright, she said. We're all fine, she said to him, putting on a smile. Even though she was affected by killing someone, Naruto was here for her, to help her, so she would not fall in despair. As she was starting to reflect and understand that this is what it meant to be a ninja. What are we gonna do, Sensei? She asked, looking towards Kakashi. We're gonna go back home, said Naruto. As Kakashi said, this is not our mission. But we can't just leave them there. Those people, they're suffering under a tyrant. And without this bridge, you're all going to die. But we can do something about that. We can save them. Right? I agree. Sasuke suddenly spoke up. Besides, I'm not heading back. We can do this. He was partially doing this for a selfish reason, as he wanted to fight stronger opponents, to finally test himself. And this was the best choice, knowing that this mission was not a complete waste of time. Sakura looked towards Naruto. She placed a hand on both of his shoulders. We can help them, she said. I know that he lied, but we can't just let them there to suffer if we can do something about it. So what do you say? Naruto looked at her. What about you, he asked. After what just happened, are you alright? It was an experience, but I'm learning to cope with it. And that's because of you, she said. And that experience has made me stronger. And I want to do this. I want to help them. But I can't do it without you being there. Naruto glanced towards the old man, Tazuna, who seemed to be hopeful, looking towards them. As Kakashi did not say anything. Fine, said Naruto. I guess I'm coming. Tuh, always annoying me into doing things. As Sakura merely chuckled at his words. Despite he was calling her annoying, she wanted to help these people because they could help. And they had Kakashi Sensei. And Naruto was strong as well. She wanted to also prove herself. They can do this. She clenched her fists. Yes, Team 7 can do this, she thought to herself. As Kakashi looked towards them, seeing their drive and determination, he believed this trip will help them reach new heights as a team. As he nodded, alright, he said, we'll continue the mission. Tazuna breathed a sigh of relief hearing that. As the group made their way off, standing in a tree was a woman. Her body materialized out of black smoke. As she landed softly, her feet not making a noise. That is when the confused Miyaizu walked out of the foliage. What's going on? Where am I? He looked up towards the unknown woman. I'm afraid you're dead, she said. And you must come with me now. She extended her hand. Miyaizu was confused. Not sure what was going on, but the urge to resist this woman was impossible. He could not resist her. as he held her hand as she led him away. The woman smiled. "I'll see you soon, Naruto," she thought to herself, before she vanished with the ghost of Miyaizu, his spirit going away with her. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification, stay posted. I'm out for now, see you guys soon. Peace.